I'm Adam with OP Movement, and today we're going to be breaking down a step-up activity and looking at a few ways where I think we can maximize this activity to get a little bit better results. So when it comes to performing a step-up, the main factor that we want to look at is that we're just trying to increase the load on a single leg to drive strength. We don't have to overcomplicate it from there. Let's pick a pretty heavy load and learn to step up and drive through by creating a lot of downward force. However, if we want to look at a few things that we can do to make the move a little bit better, we're going to break that down right here. So I'm going to use my weight here just in one hand. We can hold it with two hands if we want. That can increase the amount of weight, which is great. I like to sometimes just use a little bit of balance so that we're not focused on trying to find our balance, but just purely focusing on the strength and pushing down. So that's where I'll use maybe just a single leg or a single-handed load and have an opposite hand for a little bit of reference to help us just take balance out of the equation and focus purely on the movement. From here, when we're doing a step up, a couple things we want to focus on. One, not just swinging and using all of our momentum. We want to make sure we're coming from a little bit more grounded position, so we actually have to focus on the downward push instead of just using momentum to guide us forward. The next thing we want to focus on is this knee and shin, staying slightly forward as we get into our movement. If we're coming from back here, we'll probably just push back into this hip. We may hike up into that hip, or we may just kind of launch ourselves from our back. We want to be over top that foot and learning to pressure down through that foot and getting our hip to come up before our knee locks back. My knee may never lock back, which is probably what I want, because I want that hip to be doing the extension and the downward force through the foot to be guiding me up rather than the pulling back and locking out motion. So again, soft hand for guidance. Let's get our weight forward over that foot and then just push down, drive that force into the bench, bring that opposite knee up, and then control the movement back down. The eccentric is important. Let's not just drop and lose it all. We can gain a lot of strength as well as some range of motion if we can control ourselves into that hip flexion. So focus on a little bit slower on the way down. But the main cues here, keep that shin forward, push down without locking the knee back, drive that up and through, and then just control the loading down. Shins forward, pressure down, drive up and through. If we want to add a second weight, here's an activity or an example of how we can perform that activity with two weights in the hand. It's no different. We still want to make sure we're a little bit forward. Our weights are surrounding that front foot. We'll push down and drive through. This will be better for maximizing the amount of weight we can use. It's just if you feel like you're off in balance, start here, use a little bit of guidance, load it up pretty heavy in one hand before getting into two hands. But focusing on hip extension before knee extension and downward pressure without too much momentum are the main keys that we want to work on here.